Line's good.
Never on.
Whoa.
Hard. Hardly.
Come on, Brent.
Line's good.
Got real close.
I hear high, right?
Try and hit 2/3.
Have they saved it for her? Yes, they have.
Ooh, welcome to Game of Stones, everybody. I am Sean Graham, Scott alongside, as always. Hello, Scott.
Sean, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Anything happen?
Maybe a little bit of news. I don't know. I've been busy writing documents and editing things all day. So I don't know. Did you hear anything?
Minor piece of news coming out today. It appears that Holly Duncan may be going to the Scotties Tournament of Hearts.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into this, but I watched that curling show. A little cagey response from Rachel there, but no, obviously we're burying the lead, Sean. Big news. Rachel Homan, John Morris have been chosen to represent Canada at the Beijing Olympics in the discipline of mixed doubles. Quick reaction.
Not surprised. The tea leaves were certainly pointing in this direction all week. The rumors were flying. There really didn't seem to be much debate as we got deeper and deeper. The longer that they waited to make the decision, the more it seemed like it was going to be Homan and Morris. So I wasn't surprised to see that as the decision. I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being totally honest. And I have to say, my opinion has slightly changed. I just saw a stat from Curling Zone. The Curling Zone account tweeted that in the past 5 or 6 years, Homan and Morris are something like 45-6 playing together. And that, I have to say, swayed me a little bit. That is an impressive figure, and they've played in big events together. They didn't have a chance at the mixed doubles last year because Rachel was off, of course, having a baby. So that, of course, takes priority. So I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. What about you, Scott?
I talked on our last episode, Sean, about you have the rankings. What the hell are they for if you're not going to use them? And I guess we've learned that they're not for anything. So if you're going to blow up the rankings, I think this is the team you do it for. As you mentioned, their record, really great together. I've known each other for a long time, are able to sort of get together geographically and isolate now until the games, get some training, work on their game. So if you're going to do it for anybody, it's this team. The Curling Canada press release said some stuff about past experience was also a factor in making the decision. Okay, you can just say that they're the two best shooters and fine. Just say they're really good. It's okay.
Yeah.
I do agree with some of the stuff I've seen going around that this is probably the end of mixed doubles in Canada as its own discipline. If this sort of, I won't say opens the floodgates, but it basically says it doesn't matter if you're a dedicated mixed doubles team. We're still going to choose players from the 4-person game who are better.
I think what cushions it a little bit for me, just a little bit for me on that side, that I think it might be slightly overblown that mixed doubles is dead and the idea of mixed doubles rankings. Yeah, they might not mean anything, but neither do the CTRS points really. Because there was this back and forth today. Well, what if the 4-person events had to have been canceled? I mean, I would stick with what I said on our show earlier this week, that I would have picked Botcher and Anderson as the reigning champions. That's who I would have sent, and I would have ignored the points on the 4-person side too. But what cushions this for me on the mixed doubles is that Morris himself, he isn't quite a specialist. He came back to Team Cougar for the past 2 years, but he has really dedicated himself to mixed doubles over the past 8 years. And, he's as much of an advocate for mixed doubles as anybody else in the country, with maybe the exception of the Tucks and the Desjardins. But he's certainly in that category as an evangelical for the discipline of mixed doubles. The other thing that cushions it for me too is that he is the defending champion. And honestly, if Caitlin Laws wasn't going as part of Team Jones, I would almost say let them go defend themselves. Just let them go do it. Give them that chance. So that didn't come up. directly in the announcement today, but that kind of cushions it for me that he's a defending champ. All right, go let him try to defend it. I'm not saying that's right, but I guess I understand it.
You're right on that. You made an impassioned plea on our last show about just go win something, and then by winning something, it'll get you the chance to win something else.
Yeah.
And there you go. John Morris has done that. He won the gold medal. Go back and defend it.
Yeah. There you go. And the thing, and I said this in our chat with Jonathan and Ryan too, that we have, if they win a gold medal, no one's going to remember this. No one is going to remember or discuss the selection process. If they finish in last, it's going to be a big deal. And somebody might be out at Curling Canada if they finish last.
Yeah. And you know what? It won't be these two curlers. They'll still play going forward, Mm-hmm. So I alluded to it earlier, Sean, just real quick before we wrap up. This is a quick one. Did you watch that curling show?
I did watch that curling show. There's going to be one tonight. So we are recording this just before the evening episode Thursday night, but they did release one on Thursday morning. That was clearly not filmed this morning.
No.
So let's be clear about that. That CBC sat on this news for a little bit of time to get that exclusive.
It was likely embargoed, right?
Yes, it likely was. The condition of the interview was that it doesn't go out ahead of the release. Yes, that was probably one of the conditions of the interview. But Rachel Homan was asked directly by Colleen Jones. So does this mean that the rest of your team isn't going to the Scotties? And then Rachel didn't really answer. And Colleen followed up and said, wait, so you're not saying that Team Duncan is going to the Scotties? And again, she started to not answer the question. And then John Morris jumped in and confirmed that he was going to play in the Brier after the Olympics to kind of get out of that line of questioning.
Yeah. That was, I think, Rachel's trying to protect her teammates, make sure that they get the best chance possible. I think there's still some doubt in a lot of people's minds as to whether the Scotties can go forward in Thunder Bay in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So that's still a little up in the air. So I think because of that, she wasn't willing to answer the question. Fair enough. But we'll see how it all plays out, as we like to say around here.
Yeah, if the Scotties is moved, say, to Alberta in a period, I don't know when you could possibly do it that doesn't conflict with something else, unless a world championship gets moved potentially. But if the Scotties does get moved to after the Olympics and Rachel Homan is going to go play in that will not go over well with a certain segment of the curling fandom. So I don't know. I put on Twitter, somebody asked about this today on Twitter. I just said, I think she's just advocating for her team, which is what she should be doing. She should be advocating that, I'm not there, but my team deserves to go. So I think that's probably what she was doing in part and trying to push that and support her team. I do wonder though, Joanne Courtney was announced as part of the CBC crew going to Beijing. Joan McCusker was not included in that. So it appears Joan is not going to go to be part of the coverage there. So if Joanne Courtney's going and Rachel Homan is going, that's half the team now. Now, Joanne Courtney could play in the Scotties and just miss the first few days of mixed doubles and then go. But I'd be curious to see sort of how that is all going to play out. But which leads me to think that Rachel Homan certainly would have more information than the rest of us about what Curling Canada is talking about in the event that the provincial government here in Ontario doesn't allow this event to go forth, which is certainly possible.
It's possible. I think, Sean, what it means is that Joan McCusker is going to play lead for Team Homan.
There you go. I like it. I would be all in for that. Just trade off Joan McCusker for Joanne Courtney. That would be amazing.
Yeah, you can call them both Joe. So there you go.
Nothing wrong with that. So Scott, overall, satisfying day or unsatisfying day?
Satisfying in that we finally got an answer to this and we're not in the dark anymore. I think really that's what people wanted more than knowing really than caring about who it was, is like, just give us something. Yeah. Because like we said, it's like 3 weeks till the start of the Olympics, when I think it's 3 weeks to the day, right? When the mixed doubles opens.
I think it opens Wednesday, I think.
Instead of Thursday. So it's still pretty close, right?
Or maybe it's Wednesday here, Thursday there. I don't know. But it's midweek for sure.
Yeah, because the opening ceremonies is Saturday.
I thought it was Friday.
Oh yeah, it's
Friday
always a
night in
Friday
Beijing.
night.
Yeah, Friday night in Beijing. Friday morning here.
Yeah.
Exciting times. Rachel and John in the interview again this morning did note that they didn't think this was that different as if they had won the event, because then you'd go off, play provincials, and then you'd have your training camp. John talked about that they're isolating. They rented a house. It's just going to be them and Scott Pfeiffer for a week doing some training in Canmore, because that's the dream. Week in Canmore, isolating from your family and friends, and then they'll go off to Beijing. And somewhat coincidentally, Brad Gushu and his team, they tweeted that they are en route from St. John's to Vancouver today to do their training camp as well and start their isolation in the lead up to Beijing. And I guess you get, for them, 4.5 hours of time change out of the way.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't get inundated with all the flooding going on out there, and hope everybody stays high and dry.
Absolutely. And storms are coming here too, apparently, Scott. So some dicey weather across the country.
Like 30 centimeters of snow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So
Monday.
So that'll do it for our quick little update on the mixed doubles. Let us know what you think of the decision. You can follow us on social media at Game of Stones Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or via email, gameofstonespodcast@gmail.com. And do subscribe if you have not yet, wherever you get your pods. Do the likes, rating, comments, helps us out, helps other people find the show as we get into the Olympic season here. So that's it for a quick little update today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with you again next week. But until then, keep those brooms on the ice and don't dump that intern.
Make the final.